What's up, y'all? I've just returned from the epic soul pilgrimage out into nature to just reconnect and ground myself. I was out in the desolation wilderness of the California Sierras for 4 days backpacking with goats, completely disconnected from technology, and we're about to break down some next level stuff with my man Pinnacle Motion Therapy on the fitness value, physical value of getting out into nature. So with no further ado, let me introduce you to my man. Whoop, there he is. Hold on, my camera flipped for some reason. There we are. What's up, Simon? Good to see you, my friend.
What's up, man?
Happy to be hopping on this Movement Nerd chat with you. For all my people out there, let me introduce you to one of my, one of the dopest fucking biomechanical architects out here in the game in Austin, Texas. This man is a wealth of information and knowledge, and I'm really excited to be chopping it up on this topic with you, man. So yeah, we're going to be talking about just the physiological fitness / just emotional well-being / holistic benefits of getting out into nature. So yeah, man, I'm excited to chop it up. Anything off top that you just want to let the people know or drop on them, nature, fitness related wise?
I think we'll cover everything as we get to it. So let's just get started.
Cool. Yeah. So I kind of broke down some of the elements of like what I found to be giving me so much value when I really disconnected from this day-to-day rat race that we're all in and just got way the fuck out into nature. I'm talking about beautiful Sierra Mountains, giant boulders of granite. It was really refilling and really recharging. And I think some of the elements that really contributed to that was just like getting away from it all, you know, leaving my phone behind, disconnecting from technology, and just getting into a place where there was no artificial stimulus. And the only thing I had was the birds singing in the trees and the sun in the sky and this chaotic environment around me to explore. So the things that really like make it so valuable, a big one is just getting sun on you, right? Just like being outside during the day. I soak so much vitamin D, brother. I don't know if you can see how tan I am, but it was like, it was just all day, as much sun as you could take, just soaking that thing up. So that was definitely a piece of it.
How was your sleep?
Slept great, man. Slept great. As soon as the sun went down, and for those who don't know, sleep is something that I struggle with. And Simon knows this about me because we've talked about it before. It's something I'm continually trying to master, but I, like a lot of people, have the dopamine addiction of wanting to look at my screen at night before I'm going to sleep and keeping my brain twirling and whirling. And it was amazing how the second the sun went down, my circadian rhythms were so synchronized that I fell asleep almost instantly and slept until the sun rose again. And then when the sun was up, I was up. I didn't have a cover on my tent or anything. So the circadian rhythms got really dialed in.
That's nature, man. Nature supports our circadian rhythms and our life rhythms and nature.
It's just amazing to me how powerful it is, right? Like I feel like I do a lot of self-care shit, man. Like I do a lot to take care of myself. I'm doing ice baths, I'm getting massages, I'm working out, I'm moving. But there's almost like an emptiness of energy that just got refilled from just being out there.
So here's what I can say to that would be, I think a lot of people in this day and age, similar to you, are very, man, we're in a do-it culture, right? We are in a get-it-done culture. We are in an achievement, in a overcome culture, and there's a lot of value to that. But what winds up happening is that the yin of life gets left behind. And I would say one of the biggest benefits to someone deciding to take the pilgrimage that you took, whether it's for 2 days, 3 days, whatever, is the opportunity when you're in nature to just activate that parasympathetic side of your nervous system in a way that you never can in the city. And, 3 days of like true disconnect, not even from just technology but just the daily stress, 3 days of that, the amount of yin activities and just restful, you get to places in your mind that you cannot in the city when it comes to that rest. And taking that, I mean, you're gonna be recharged for the next 2 months because of this trip. I mean, it's such a valuable strategy for long-term hard work. Go ahead. I'm sure you have something.
What's funny about what you said, man, is I don't know if I realized how much of a doer I am until this trip. I have a friend. His name's Eric. He's been my lifelong best friend since 3rd grade. And the more that I've grown spiritually and wisdom-wise throughout my life, the more I've realized how fucking he already had it. Like, from the day we were little kids, this motherfucker was the most zen guy I know. To the point now where he's like got a farm. He's like raising goats. He's so connected with nature. He never got caught up in the Instagram and the phone stuff. He's just always been a very present person. And in relationship to him, I noticed how much, even when we're out in nature, I'm always needing to have something to do. I'm like, all right, let's fix the campsite up. Like, let's get some rocks. Let's move some shit. Let's pimp the spot out. Let's do things. I'm not very good at just sitting in stillness, even out in that nature. And yeah, I started to get a little feel for the not doing, but it was interesting to me how when you strip away all of the reasons to be doing, that need to be doing still exists underneath. It's almost like it's an inability to sit with yourself, to be still, to be okay. And the nature definitely has a way of kind of grounding you back into that and recognizing that, once you're fed and once you're full and you're warm and you're comfy, like, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a lot of power to just not having the option,
Yeah.
like if you're at home and it's the weekend, you're like, I can't wait to relax this weekend. But then the weekend comes, right? You have nothing to do, right? But you're laying there and you're bouncing between, should I text my friend? Should I text my other friend? Maybe I should do this. No, I should relax. But should I text my friend though? Or should I check the answer? There's no, to just lay there, to just stare at the trees, to just
stare at the fucking stars. How about?
Yeah,
how about the stars,
even better,
bro? I haven't seen stars in years. Looking up to the fucking stars and actually seeing, like, holy shit, there's the Milky Way there. I can see the Milky Way. Like, there's something there, too, that is psychologically beneficial to us that we really miss. I feel like when we're disconnected from this giant scale of reality, it's very easy to get sucked into the myopic nature of all these fleeting waves that we experience.
Yeah, and I think it's just a great reminder that we're just on a rock floating in space. I think it's a great way to just remember that our issues aren't that big.
But okay, here's what I really want to talk about, right? Because there's a lot of value in nature, but we're kind of coming at it from a
we have to do a couple of these for nature. I
am in the best shape I've been in so long, and I was not following a diet. I ate mac and cheese at night. I ate like fucking peanut butter, like chocolate bars, like all this shit that we think is unhealthy. But like you are always telling me, like I can feel my body needing these sugars because I just backpacked for 4.5 hours with a 40-pound back on my back. So just like the fitness element of just having to be moving for like 4 or 5 hours a day, like at a minimum. And then you get there and you have to set up camp, right? But like something about just hiking. And the other element I want to talk on is the chaotic environment that I was interacting with, right? So I only brought my Zero Minimalist shoes out, which I wouldn't recommend for most people. I've been training barefoot for years to be able to do this, and it was hard. I fucked my feet up. My feet are all banged up. But
golf ball, but yeah.
I feel a connection to my feet in the ground in a way that the second I got back to flat land, I was like, oh, like my feet are getting stupid again. My feet started to act 3-dimensionally, and like the things that we talk about, like the green dots and different forms of like controlling the extension and flexion of my heel when I was walking. I just noticed how the chaos of having to walk and move and interact with these rocks and always be mapping the next step that you took made, the best way I can describe it is my feet got smart. Whereas like normally my feet are so stupid because they don't have to think. It's like wherever they put themselves, they're fine. But out in nature, it's like constantly monitoring every step and the weight that you put in. When you have a 50-pound backpack on your back and you have barefoot minimalist shoes, your feet get smart quick. So that was a very interesting experience. And I've had it before, but just to re-experience that with my new relationship to the feet. And yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think everyone needs to make the move, the jump to minimalist shoes slowly, but at some point they need to. I mean, it's really tragic to me that you go out anywhere and 98% of the people you see, if not more, are in sneakers. Yeah, the analogy used is really good. People's feet are, the average person's feet today are dumb. It's very sad, but it's just the truth. And you don't realize how much that affects everything up the chain. You know, a lot of knee pain, hip pain, low back pain would be reduced if people wore minimalist shoes, started getting towards it. Yeah. It's a shame to see kids like 5-year-olds, 6, 7, 8-year-olds in little kid sneakers. That's what kills me. It's just like a life.
It's hard.
People are taking their kids' athleticism of a person's entire life from like a 8, 9, 10 down to like a 6, 7, 8, like right there in that one move, in that one.
People don't know. They wouldn't do it if they knew better. So when I'm moving out there, right, I'm stepping on things and rocks in different sizes and different heights, both downhill and uphill. I'm just also moving at different angles and inclination of my heel here, right? It was such this 4 or 5 hour hike was such I'm thinking of it from the perspective of a trainer, such a versatile workout that it would be impossible to try to replicate in a gym. Like there's no way I could somehow create the chaos that was just there and I was experiencing in a flat room environment using like the typical equipment that we found in a gym, which is really interesting to me to think about. That like I do a lot of stuff to try to strengthen my knees and my ankles, but none of the shit that I do can even closely compare to just walking on this hike.
Yeah, it is. Sorry about all the noise. I am trying to get to where there's less noise.
You're good, man. You're good.
Yeah, it's that's another great one. I mean, just having I would say there's not really much to add. I mean, it's good that having a change of surfaces really does help. And people, I would say that it definitely is, unfortunately, because most people don't have that. I just want to say you do want to be like a little careful. I only say this after being at the water park over the weekend and seeing a lot of my adult friends make silly mistakes and then like tweak their knees. And I'm just like, yeah, most people my age now, if they're running on like a water blow up thing and they don't move right, like they're going to tear something, I guess. So based off my recent experience, I would just say for the majority of you, like you're I guess actually be careful now. I mean, I feel like, if people are like me, they let their inner kid out and they just go crazy. But if you're not someone who does that a lot or has been doing that, then keep that in mind. But definitely,
I've been working on the barefoot stuff for at least 5 years. Like, it's something I've been like and specifically strengthening my ankles and knees has been a big focus of mine. I guess what's just so fascinating to me is the chaotic stimulus, right? Which is very different than a stimulus that we can normally provide in a gym. Because any movement pattern that we are going to apply to a client in the gym is going to be of a repeatable nature. And even if we try to get pretty chaotic with it, if we try to string, like something like jujitsu, right? Jujitsu is pretty chaotic, but it's still less chaotic than nature. Like the degrees of ways that I had to move my body throughout this 4 to 5 hour hike and my weekend of hike and like swimming and trying to balance getting out of the river onto slippery rocks. Like that shit is just it's a stimulus that it's not possible to recreate in a gym, and I think the human body really needs.
So I agree. I disagree that there's no way to get. So you can get close. In fact, it's not even about getting close. I would say that any movement you're going to do in nature, they are all very close to like 8. Like no matter where you are in nature, your hip needs to flex, extend. You're going to laterally rotate. Your foot will invert, evert. It's a composite of patterns that you can train in the gym. And I say this as someone who does do his best to find the patterns of foot mobility combined with hip mobility that I'm not good at and buffer those weak links. But as someone who does go out in nature, I feel very sturdy, and I do feel like the moves that I struggle with in the gym are the ones I struggle with out in nature. But the patterns that I'm very good at in the training space, I can take to nature. So I definitely believe you can train for nature, but then getting out to nature. In fact, for a lot of people, I think they would have to it would be safer to start in a setting where they can be in a slightly more controlled environment. But it is a great, it is a great roll of the dice every time you go out in terms of, oh, what do I have to deal with today? It's great to keep things fresh, but you definitely can get very close to recreating it, I would say. It just takes some creativity.
So I think here's the distinction, right? Like, there was this rock that I had to walk. We put all our stuff on this big rock, and as I'm walking down this rock, I'm constantly like, my ankle is at this weird like slant as I'm going down it, and then I'm getting into, I'm like walking across this other rock, and it's like my ankles are like all right, these are my 2 feet, right? They're like doing this shit, right?
Yeah.
And like where in the beside in the rest of my body, yeah, it's hinging, it's doing those patterns that we're used to, but the versatility of way that it's connected to the floor is not something that is really replicable in a gym setting.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and it changes everything, because you're right, it all starts from the ground up. So if we're doing everything from here, like, that's never in nature was I like that. It was always like, so like that's something that I think is a really big piece that's missing, is that never in nature are you performing these patterns from here, or it's extremely rare. If you find a flat surface out in nature, it's like, oh shit, sick, cool, flat surface, but it's rare. Usually it's always something like this. So I think right in that, it's like, there's something that nature gives you that even if you just do the exact same shit, but you take it outside into a barefoot environment, it changes it completely. That was my experience, at least. That's what I was kind of tripping off when I was out there.
So it definitely changes so much, but not even because of necessarily the type of movement it happens, but because of the environment you're in, which I feel like is some of the juiciest things we need to talk about, because it does change training and it does change moving. And I feel like the more the average person can find ways to exercise outdoors, the better, because we live in an age where people are starved of natural light and starved of natural air. And
talk about the fresh air a little bit.
Well, I mean, we live in a world where toxins are everywhere, in our clothes, in our cooking pans, in our paint, if you have I have friends who have tapestries in the room that's off-gassing things, blah, blah, blah. But our bodies are inundated with toxins, and really, it's a big load, right? Our bodies, the sources, all the different sources. And one of the ways we get toxins from our environment is through our lungs. And when you sit, I've been looking for a new office space, and like 80% of the offices I said no to, they were in this building that gets no natural airflow. Typical office space that a lot of people that were like call centers or accountants or whatever would be in. And I'm just gobsmacked. I'm like, how do people breathe? The fact that there's office spaces like this means that they sell, and I just don't understand it, because I was going brain dead after being in there for 10 minutes. And so natural air, it does not just reduce the amount of toxic load on our system that we have to work through. It's also just cleaner, and it's going to be better for, it's just it's really health is a big part of health is reducing the various sources of stress on our body. To the degree, it's just like getting rich or wealthy. Part of it is making more money, but part of it is not spending it on stupid things. And if you can reduce the amount of work your body has to do, part of that being detoxification, you're just going to have more energy for other shit, you know, for other things. It's that simple. So it's just one of the many benefits of doing stuff outside. The air, synergistically tied with cleaner light, which we also have biological needs for, dietary requirements for, is great. And it's just, you know, people who think they're going to get the vitamin D requirements in a pill as a replication or substitution for getting the millions of differing wavelengths in sunlight that hit our skin and our optic nerve, those
Bro,
help
I'm so
regulate.
fucking tan right now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just out there like fucking battery soaking that sunlight, man.
So, hey, listen, give me 1 second. I do not want to get, I got to check on my girlfriend to make sure I am ready when
Okay,
she's
man.
ready.
Hey, we can cut this call here. We can jam another time. It was a fucking pleasure to talk to you, my friend. And I think we got to go camping, brother. I think that's what it's
We
coming down to.
definitely
We
got
got
to
to
go
get the fuck
camping.
out of this place, get out into nature, and do some movement, man.
Yeah, we definitely got to go camping. I'll have a tripod next time so I can be a little more steady with my camera. But yeah, we'll do it soon, man. I'd love to go
We'll do
camping.
more of these, brother. Thanks for hopping on with me. That was Simon with Pinnacle Motion Therapy. Hit him up. Follow this dude. He's a brilliant mind in the movement world. I'll talk to you
Yeah,
soon,
yeah.
brother.
All right, man. See you. Bye.